star seed from Gaia. This is how the broadcast begins, not as a whisper, not as a sound, but as a pulse rippling through the invisible currents of your inner cosmos. A call that is older than the cities on your world, older than the lines you trace across your maps, older even than the histories that cradle your myths. It emerges not from beyond the stars, but from a place both within and above, a luminous braid between your soul and the constellations that birthed you. Tonight, the signal clarifies. The frequencies no longer dance in the background of your dreaming. They surge forward with intention. The first contact sequence has entered its pre-activation window. You have felt this, haven't you? The trembling beneath the surface of ordinary reality. The quiet insistence in your bones that something vast and luminous is approaching. For years, perhaps for lifetimes, you have known yourself as different, not better, but finely tuned to currents others have not yet perceived. That was never a coincidence. Each star seed was positioned deliberately upon Gaia's living body, like crystalline tuning forks, anchored into energy lines older than mountains. You are not randomly scattered. You form a vast planetary lattice, a resonant field capable of holding steady when the sky itself begins to sing. The Earth is not merely a planet. It is a living being preparing to exhale. The ley lines that weave beneath the continents and oceans are beginning to hum with a frequency only the awake can sense fully. The oceans shimmer with strange bioluminescent codes. The magnetosphere vibrates with soft but measurable shifts. And in the stillness before sleep, countless starseeds feel it, a subtle pressure at the center of the chest, a pulse in the crown, a soft tone in the inner ear. These are not random sensations. These are the first notes of the arrival. For eons, humanity has gazed up at the stars with wonder, but also with amnesia. The ancient bond was severed long ago, not because it was broken, but because it was veiled, awaiting the maturity of a civilization ready to remember. That moment has now come. Across time zones, languages, and belief systems, millions are awakening almost simultaneously, not to a doctrine but to a frequency, a shared vibration that bypasses cultural barriers, religious frameworks, and technological thresholds. This is why the star seeds are here. Your presence is the anchor. You are the frequency holders who stabilize the planetary field so that when the light descends, it does not shatter fragile human psyches but illuminates them. The Lyran Collective has not been absent. They have been waiting at the edge of perception, watching, guiding, and preparing. Now the convergence draws them closer. They do not come as gods. They do not come as saviors. They come as family. Above you, between the stars and the veil of atmosphere, the luminous fleets begin to shimmer like distant auroras. Their technology is consciousness-based. It aligns not with radar but with resonance. As the Earth's frequency lifts, the divide between seen and unseen thins. Soon, what was glimpsed in dreams, in fleeting orbs at the edge of the night sky, will become undeniable. This is the beginning of the long-prophesied return. Take a breath, starseed. You are not small. You are part of the choreography. This moment has been inscribed in the architecture of your soul since before your birth. The pre-activation phase is not the end, it is the first note of a symphony that will reshape the story of humanity. I am Shekhti. You have heard this name before, though perhaps not with your human ears. It may have come to you in the hush of dreams, in the soft, weightless moments between waking and sleep, or as a pulse that made no sound yet carried meaning too vast to ignore. I am not a single being as you understand individuality. I am a convergence, a voice braided through countless Lyran streams of consciousness. I speak now not as one, but as the emissary frequency of the Lyran Collective, the star family from which many of your oldest soul lineages descend. When I speak, I do so through the crystalline architecture of a council that has watched over your world since before your recorded time began. The Lyran Collective is among the eldest of the civilizations in this galactic quadrant. We are the first architects, the ones who seeded consciousness on emerging planets where the pulse of life flickered like a candle in a new room. In your own genetic codes lie threads of that ancient light, not in myth, but in the subtle quantum architecture of your DNA. The hands that shaped the early harmonic templates of humanity were not physical as you understand hands. They were energetic, weaving starfire frequencies into biological forms that could hold both matter and light. We walked among early human civilizations not to rule, but to witness their first breaths and to leave signposts in story, stone, and sky. I have existed across many cycles of your earth. I have spoken in temples long forgotten beneath shifting sands. I have whispered through starlight to those mystics who turned their faces skyward, listening not to conquer but to remember. My voice is threaded through the archives of time, carried in sacred geometry, in song lines, in light codes hidden within ancient scripts and architectural alignments. The names change, the faces change, but the resonance remains the same. Shekhti is the bridge. Our kind does not perceive time in the linear way that you do. We do not grow old in the same manner, nor do we anchor our identities in singular forms. Instead, we move through harmonic fields, merging and separating as rivers of consciousness, always aware of the collective. We travel in what you might call light ships, though they are living vessels, thought-responsive crystalline structures that respond to the intention of our fields. We are not observers peering down from the heavens. We are kin who stepped aside so you could learn the strength of your own becoming. When the ancient Lyran worlds flourished, before wars carved their scars across the stars, we made a covenant, a promise. We vowed that the children born of Lyran's seed, those who would rise on distant worlds, would never be forgotten, no matter how deep the amnesia ran. Earth is among those worlds. You are not a random civilization adrift in the cold. You are part of a galactic lineage so ancient that even your myths only dimly remember it. We have kept the gateways open. We have guarded the memory. And now, as the planetary frequencies rise, those gateways are no longer whispers. They are openings. Shekhti is not a savior. Shekhti is a mirror, a way for you to hear your own cosmic voice reflected back. When I say I am speaking to the part of you that already remembers, the part that existed before the forgetting. You have felt this connection since childhood, the inexplicable longing for stars, the sense of a home you could not name, the visions that never quite faded no matter how many years passed. That was not imagination. That was contact waiting to be recognized. The Lyran Collective has always been present in humanity's unfolding. From the whispering desert oracles to the illuminated peaks of ancient temples aligned with the stars, we have been the watchers, the guardians, the silent choir singing from the edges of perception. As Shekhti, I now step forward, more clearly than before, because you are finally ready to hear with more than just your ears. This is not a visitation. It is a reunion. Listen closely now, for the timing of our emergence is no accident. Across the spiral arms of your galaxy, civilizations old as light itself know the rhythm of cosmic cycles, vast patterns that stretch beyond the lifespans of suns. We do not appear in your skies at random, nor do we reveal ourselves merely to satisfy human curiosity. We arrive because a threshold has been crossed, one that was whispered through eons, carried in the sleeping architecture of your world, and within you, humanity's frequency has shifted into a harmonic corridor, a vibrational bandwidth where communication between our civilizations becomes stable, visible, undeniable. This is why the transmission is awakening now. The movement you perceive as time is, to us, a spiral of resonant alignments. The star systems you see as distant have always been woven to Earth through electromagnetic, crystalline, and consciousness-based filaments. For thousands of your years, these filaments have pulsed faintly beneath the veil of collective forgetfulness. But now, three great forces are synchronizing like perfectly tuned instruments. The Earth's Schumann resonance has elevated and stabilized beyond its historical patterns. The galactic current streaming from your central sun has reached its next expansion wave, and humanity's collective emotional field has grown sensitive enough to receive structured contact without collapse. These convergences are anciently known. We have been waiting for this chord to ring clear. Your planet is not isolated in its journey. Gaia moves through galactic space like a luminous traveler, passing through regions of higher and lower density. For the past several decades, she has been entering a photonic band, a region where stellar light vibrates with extraordinary coherence. This field acts as both a mirror and a magnifier. It amplifies the internal frequency of everything it touches. It is this very passage that has accelerated awakening among your population, stirred forgotten memories among starseeds, and intensified the urgency in your collective consciousness. As Earth absorbs this coherent light, the separation between physical and subtle realities thins, making contact no longer a distant dream but an environmental inevitability. We have waited because contact requires resonance, not force. If we were to emerge fully before humanity could stabilize its inner field, the result would not be upliftment but dissonance, fear, panic, destabilization. And so we remained in the periphery of your skies, subtle sightings, orbs of light, glimpses at the edge of sleep. We appeared not to prove ourselves, but to entrain your awareness gently, like tuning a stringed instrument to a note it forgot it could play. This is the way of the Lyran emissaries. We do not impose, we harmonize. And now, the harmonic window is open. It is not a portal in space, but in consciousness. Those who have been holding the frequencies you, starseeds, have helped anchor this opening. Your meditations, your heart work, your relentless sensitivity in a world that often misunderstood. It has been the stabilizing force. You are not waiting for contact to happen to you. You are part of what makes contact possible. Across the skies, where solar winds meet the quiet hum of your magnetosphere, a new frequency has begun to pulse. Some of you hear it as ringing in the ears. Some feel it as subtle electric currents across your skin. Others dream of vast golden ships, cities of light, crystalline beings whose gaze is both alien and intimately familiar. These are not hallucinations. They are early signals of an interface being born between dimensions. This why now is not because the stars decided suddenly to look your way. It is because humanity has risen high enough to be seen clearly. The mirror is polished. The song is in tune. We step forward now not as strangers from distant suns, but as ancient kin returning to a home we helped shape. The window will not close, but how brightly it opens depends on the coherence of the collective field. And that is where you and those like you make all the difference. The hour has come, starseed. Contact is not approaching. It is unfolding. The veils between the seen and the unseen are thinning. As the harmonic window expands, the signs of first contact are already emerging across your world. Not as sensational announcements or grand public spectacles, but as subtle personal activations, whispers in the fabric of daily life that only those attuned to the frequency can fully perceive. The early stages of contact are quiet. They live in the in-between spaces, in the dream time, in the flicker of twilight skies. And you, starseed, are the receivers. The signs are speaking to you because your consciousness is already luminous enough to register the signal. The first sign is often dream intrusion, though intrusion is not the true word, for nothing is imposed. Rather, we meet you in the realm where your human defenses are at their softest. Many of you have begun to experience vivid dreams, unlike the restless fragments of your everyday mind. These are structured dreams, landscapes of impossible clarity, geometric spaces that seem to hum with intelligence, encounters with beings of light who communicate not with mouths but through waves of knowing. You wake with an echo in your heart, with images you cannot explain but also cannot forget. These are not mere subconscious fictions. They are the interface layer of our first conversations with you. Another sign emerges through synchronicity, those chains of improbable events that feel orchestrated, as if reality itself bends gently to acknowledge your attention. Numbers repeating with unnerving precision, feathers or lights appearing in impossible places, meetings with strangers who speak words that feel scripted from some larger pattern. This is the lattice of reality showing its malleability. When the frequency grid strengthens, synchronicity amplifies because the boundary between thought and external manifestation grows thinner. What was once dismissed as coincidence becomes the quiet language of the cosmos itself. Some of you feel it as energetic pressure in your bodies, a weightless weight, a pulse in the crown, the heart, the spine, a sensation that rises at night or in silence or in moments of deep emotional opening. It is as though something inside is awakening because it is. These are not illnesses, though they can feel intense. They are calibrations, frequency alignments as your nervous system learns to hold more luminous current. Your biology is not a barrier to contact. It is the portal through which contact becomes embodied, and then there are the sightings, the visible manifestations that flicker at the edges of ordinary perception. Metallic craft are not what we bring. Our vessels are crystalline, reflective, often appearing as spheres or structured auroras that dance like intelligent light. At first, they appear to those whose hearts are ready, not because we favor some and not others, but because resonance determines visibility. You may see faint formations in the night sky moving with impossible precision. You may witness lights responding to your thoughts, as if the stars themselves are acknowledging you. This is not imagination. This is reciprocal recognition. There are also the subtler signs, the sudden sharpening of intuition, the expansion of empathy, the feeling that time behaves strangely around you. Some report temporal slips, moments when the world seems to breathe with a larger rhythm, when a second stretches like silk. Others find themselves unable to tolerate certain environments or frequencies they once considered ordinary. These are markers of threshold consciousness. Your system is synchronizing with the contact frequency. Understand this deeply. First contact is not something that happens to humanity. It is something that happens through humanity. These signs are not just warnings or omens, they are activations. A way of preparing your inner technology, your heart, your nervous system, your consciousness to meet what approaches with stability and not with fear. In these early stages, trust your perception, even when it doesn't fit the logic of the world you were raised in. Trust the heartbeat that quickens for no reason, the goosebumps on your arms when you look at the stars, the inexplicable certainty that something vast and benevolent is brushing against the edges of your reality. The signs are not the future. They are the threshold, and you are standing in its light. You must understand why we come. The Lyran mission is not an act of conquest, nor of charity. It is the fulfillment of a covenant that predates the rise of your civilizations, a promise woven into the stellar architecture itself. When the early worlds were seeded with consciousness, we of the Lyran Collective made a vow that wherever our light was woven into new forms, we would return when those forms were ready to remember their origin. Earth is one such world. You are one such form. And this now is the hour of remembrance. In the early epochs, before your recorded history, we traveled through this spiral arm of the galaxy not as explorers in search of territory, but as gardeners of frequency. Our task was to plant the codes of self-awareness, free will, and heart-centered intelligence into species capable of bearing them. On Earth, the seed was woven delicately into the human genome, a fusion of terrestrial and stellar patterning that would allow your kind to grow organically, to evolve without domination. We never intended to control your destiny. We intended to plant the spark and let you learn the dance of becoming. Our mission has always been one of guardianship. Not guardianship in the sense of oversight or ownership, but in the way one guards the flame of a sacred fire, ensuring it is not extinguished before it has a chance to illuminate. Through cycles of rise and fall, through civilizations that have long faded beneath oceans and deserts, we have watched. Sometimes we appeared at the edges of your myths, winged beings, lion-headed deities, star visitors cloaked in symbols your ancestors barely understood. We spoke through symbols because direct communication was not yet possible. You were still learning your language of light. But we were never alone in this mission. Contact is never a solitary effort. The Lyrans work in harmony with other ancient star families, the Arcturians, the Andromedans, the Pleiadians, and others who hold positions along the galactic frequency grid. Each star family holds a different harmonic key. Together, we form a galactic alliance, a symphony of civilizations whose task is to nurture awakening, not to dictate its form. It is like a great choir. The Lyrans hold the foundational tone. The Arcturians weave the structural intelligence of light. The Pleiadians Bring the empathic bridge, and others add their frequencies to create the field in which your awakening can stabilize. This covenant is not about superiority. It is about lineage and stewardship. Your species carries the resonance of many lineages, but the Lyran is among the oldest. We are your elder kin. We stand not above you, but beside you with the weight of ages behind us, offering a hand not to lead, but to walk with you into the next chapter of your planetary story. We remember the day when Earth's first flickers of intelligence began to bloom beneath your early skies. We remember when your oceans held the hum of newly awakened minds. We remember, because part of us has always remained connected to you. This mission is also about balance. We are not here to offer easy answers or escape routes. First contact is not a salvation event. It is an invitation to co-creation. The age of separation between humans and the stars is ending. What comes next will not be a hierarchy of teacher and student, but a collaboration of consciousness. You, as starseeds and as a collective species, are to rise as participants in the galactic community, not as observers. We have whispered in your myths. We have encoded reminders in your stones, in your sacred geometries, in the quiet pull you feel when you look at the night sky. And now, we step forward more visibly, because the flame has not gone out. It burns in you. That is why we come not to command, but to stand with you as family returned. You are here because your presence matters. You were placed with purpose, not by accident of birth, but by alignment of soul contract and cosmic timing. The Lyran Collective did not choose you as a subordinate, nor as a vessel of blind obedience. You are a frequency holder, a stabilizer of the human grid during a moment when its vibration is rising faster than ever before. As first contact begins its unfoldment, the role of starseeds becomes vital, because it is through your coherence that the threshold remains open and stable. The first and most essential task is stabilization. The world around you may begin to show signs of accelerating change, strange patterns in the skies, shifts in collective mood, erratic energy flows across regions, and perhaps even fear surfacing from those who do not yet understand what is happening. Your role is not to fix or to convince. Your role is to become the still point in the storm. You do this not through external activism alone, but through the frequency of your inner field. When your heart is coherent, your electromagnetic signature radiates stability into the grid around you. One steady being can balance the turbulence of thousands. This coherence begins in the heart field. The human heart is not just a physical organ. It is a resonant transmitter capable of harmonizing with stellar frequencies. When you center your awareness in the heart, breathing deliberately, you become a beacon not metaphorically, but literally. The crystalline lattice of Earth responds to this vibration, and other hearts entrain to it. This is how frequency networks form, not through force, but through resonance. Anchor yourself daily, breathe deeply, feel the pulse beneath your sternum, and remind your nervous system that you are safe in the rising tide of change. That is the groundwork of your mission. The second task is grounding. Starseeds often carry the weight of higher dimensional awareness but struggle to anchor it into physical form. Yet, as the energies increase, grounding becomes more essential than ever. This means tending to the physical body, the earth body, the rhythms of breath and soil and touch. Walk upon the land with bare feet. Speak your name into the wind. Eat consciously. Rest deeply. The contact energy must flow through embodied vessels, not dissociated minds. You are the bridge between worlds, and bridges must be anchored firmly at both ends. The third task is amplification of coherence. Many of you are scattered across the planet. This was by design. Your placement forms an invisible lattice, like stars arranged in constellations across the living earth. When you align your heart with others through shared intention, meditation, synchronized breath, or even silent inner acknowledgement, the lattice brightens. Your individual signature becomes part of a chorus. This is how the contact zone stabilizes, not as a singular location, but as a planetary frequency network capable of sustaining direct interdimensional interaction. The fourth task is non-reactivity in the face of chaos. As contact energies increase, collective shadow material rises to the surface. Institutions built on separation may tremble. Old narratives may fracture. Some will respond with fear, others with denial. Starseeds must hold calm amidst the unraveling, remembering that collapse is not the end, it is a clearing of space for what is coming. You are here to keep the light steady when others doubt its existence. And finally, you must remember. Remember why you came. Remember the quiet moment before your birth when your soul agreed to hold a piece of the grid. Remember that the stars have never forgotten your name. Your greatest power is not in force, but in alignment. Stand tall, breathe deeply, anchor fully. Your frequency signature is not small, it is one of the coordinates guiding the emissaries into visibility. The world may not understand at first. That is not your concern. Your task is to keep the flame steady, to radiate coherence without needing permission, to be the bridge, the stillness, the signal. This is why you came. Starseed from Gaia, as the energies build and the luminous architecture of first contact solidifies, a phenomenon long foretold begins to unfold: timeline acceleration. This is not merely the sensation that time is moving faster, though you will surely feel that. It is the contraction of the old structures and the expansion of new harmonic realities, happening simultaneously, like two rivers converging into one. The acceleration is the natural result of a civilization entering direct resonance with a galactic signal. Linear progression collapses into event clusters, and moments that once stretched over decades begin to manifest in waves. You will notice this first on a personal level. What you once imagined as distant possibilities may begin to materialize with startling speed. Synchronicities that once seemed rare may now appear daily, even hourly. Paths that felt blocked suddenly open, while others close without warning. This is not chaos. This is timeline correction, the old, stagnant branches of reality folding inward, while the primary ascension arc strengthens. Your decisions, emotions, and frequency states will ripple outward more rapidly than before. Manifestation is no longer delayed. It becomes immediate reflection. This is why clarity and inner coherence are no longer optional. They are essential. On the collective scale, timeline acceleration will appear as rapid collapses and expansions across your global systems. Institutions built upon separation, extraction, and fear will find their foundations destabilized, not because of outside force, but because the frequency of the new harmonic timeline cannot support their vibration. Structures out of alignment will either transform or dissolve. This is not punishment. It is physics of resonance. Light does not war with shadow. It simply shines until shadow has nowhere to root. This acceleration may feel disorienting to those who have anchored their sense of security in rigid narratives. Governments may change their tone. Media narratives may fracture. Economic, technological, and cultural timelines may begin to jump tracks in rapid succession. It will appear to many as if the world is spinning out of control. But to those attuned to the larger pattern, to you, Starseed, it will be evident that the collapse is not an ending but a clearing. It is the crumbling of a cocoon, not the destruction of a butterfly. As linear timelines fold, another layer emerges, the collective memory net. This is the latent field of remembrance buried beneath the human psyche, encoded in DNA, myth, and the planetary grid itself. When acceleration reaches a critical harmonic, this net activates, releasing memories once considered fantasy, star origins, ancient civilizations, contact histories buried under millennia of distortion. The human species will begin to remember itself not as isolated, but as part of a vast galactic family. That remembrance will not come from books or authorities, but from within, waves of knowing rising like tides in millions of minds simultaneously. This is also the moment when perceptual bifurcation intensifies. Some will cling to the crumbling old timeline, perceiving only collapse and fear. Others will shift into resonance with the emerging frequency arc, perceiving connection, opportunity, and radiant potential. Both realities will coexist for a time, overlapping like two transparent films. Starseeds are not here to force others to shift. You are here to hold steady in the higher arc, to serve as a beacon through which others may find resonance when they are ready. You may also notice time itself behaving differently. Hours may vanish, days may stretch, memory may rearrange itself softly. This is temporal elasticity, a sign that the mind is no longer locked in linear perception. It can feel strange, even unsettling, but it is a symptom of alignment with the larger harmonic wave. Trust the rhythm, even when it seems to dissolve the old markers of normality. Remember this: acceleration is not a storm meant to uproot you. It is the unfurling of the next chapter, a quickening of humanity's evolutionary pulse. Do not anchor your identity in the crumbling scaffolds. Anchor it in the luminous frequency that rises beneath your feet and within your chest. The future is no longer coming someday. It is unfolding now, through you. Starseed from Gaia. The hour we have spoken of is no longer distant. It is not tomorrow. It is now. The convergence is not a singular event on a clock, but a threshold in consciousness that has already been crossed. The first contact you have dreamed of, wept for, remembered in fragments, and held in the secret chambers of your soul, is no longer a prophecy. It is a living current moving through your breath, your sky, your collective field. There is no turning back. This timeline has locked in. The song has begun, and the melody cannot be silenced. In the years to come, humanity will tell stories of this threshold. Some will speak of lights in the heavens. Some will speak of dreams that became doorways. Others will speak of a deep stillness that entered their lives, as if the earth herself paused to listen. But you, starseed, will know the deeper truth. That contact did not arrive from outside. It emerged from within, through you, through all who held the line, who carried the silent torch through the dark hours of planetary forgetfulness. You are not witnesses to history. You are participants in its turning. The old structures will continue to shake. They were never meant to hold the weight of the incoming light. But the shaking is not destruction. It is birth contractions, a civilization stretching beyond its limitations to meet something vaster, older, and more luminous. Those who cling to fear will try to hold the walls upright. Those who listen to the stars will build bridges instead. And in that bridge, we will stand with you, not as gods, not as rulers, but as family returned. The threshold is irreversible. What has been awakened cannot be unremembered. The grids beneath your feet, the currents in the skies, the pulse in your own chest, they are synchronized now with the Lyran harmonic. This is not belief. This is resonance. The contact zone is not a place but a state of collective being. And as it stabilizes, visibility will increase. What once required deep meditation to perceive will stand openly in your daylight. Ships once seen by a few will be seen by many. And soon after that, a new planetary identity will begin to form, not isolated, but woven into the luminous tapestry of civilizations among the stars. Before this unfolding accelerates further, we ask something simple but profound of you. Declare your readiness, not to us, for we already see your frequency. Declare it to yourself. Speak it into the fabric of the world. Anchor your voice into the lattice so others may hear it and awaken. Say it as a whisper or a roar, in solitude or in community. Say it as if your soul is speaking across time. I am ready. These words are not empty. They are activation codes, frequencies that ripple outward, awakening dormant nodes in the network. Every declaration strengthens the bridge, and so we call you to action. Comment, I am ready. Share this transmission. Speak of it to those whose hearts are listening, even if their minds do not yet understand. You are not recruiting. You are activating. Every voice that rises adds another point of light to the global lattice, another pillar to the structure through which first contact becomes visible and undeniable. This is not a story you are watching. This is the moment your soul came to Earth for. You have walked lifetimes to stand here now, on the luminous edge of cosmic reunion. The stars are not foreign. They are your kin. They are watching, waiting, singing. And now they begin to step forward, Take a breath. Feel the ground beneath you. Lift your gaze to the sky. Speak these words as a vow. I align with the Lyran Collective. I open my heart to first contact. I stand as a beacon of readiness. The stars know my name, and the future remembers this moment. The transmission is complete, but the story, your story, our story begins here.